I've always said living in one of two houses would persuade me to move back to Carroll County, Maryland. The first was an old farmhouse in Woodbine where I grew up, built by Thomas Gosnell in the early 1800s. I thoroughly documented it in 2021 when my father's widow left it abandoned and in severe disrepair, with everything still inside. The other was in Westminster on the corner of Route 31 and Uniontown Road. The locals knew it as the old house on Uniontown Road with the wraparound porch. When I moved away from Maryland in 1999, it was deserted and decaying. Unfortunately, the house in Woodbine was demolished due to its deteriorated condition. Scratch that option. Unlike the home in Woodbine, someone came to the Uniontown Road house's rescue. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's rewind a little bit. Carroll County, Maryland was founded in 1837 from parts of Baltimore and Frederick counties, and named after Charles Carroll, the last surviving signer of the Declaration of Independence. Plenty of elegant 19th century homes dot the vast farmlands across the county and in the county seat of Westminster. For example, the Bixler House, the Colonel W. W. Dallas House, the Diffenbaugh Weant House, the Dr. Luther Kemp House, Emerald Hill, the Kelly McIntyre House, the Kuntz Snyder House, the Kurtz House, the Manchester House, the President's House at the former Western Maryland College, Trevanion. The one that fascinated me the most was that old house on Uniontown Road with the wraparound porch. One couldn't drive up Uniontown Road toward the neighborhood of the Greens without seeing it. I passed it for the first time in 1988 and fell instantly in love. But as the years passed, the house fell increasingly into disrepair. By 1998, after I'd gotten married and moved to the Greens, I couldn't tell if anybody was legitimately living there. There were never any cars in the driveway, and the only sign of life was a dim light that would glow from the westmost front window at night. Surely that must mean someone was living there, right? Turns out, No, it was all a ruse. In January 1999, I suggested to my then wife that we should make an offer on that house and fix it up. Who in their right mind wouldn't want to live in and raise kids in such a gorgeous, grand old home with all that land surrounding it? One chilly winter afternoon, with the remnants of the last snowfall on the ground, I drove up the long driveway off Uniontown Road, intending to introduce myself to the current owner and converse with them. Perhaps see if they were interested in selling. What's the worst that could happen? They'd say no. I parked around back, looking for other cars one couldn't see from the road. My first sight of the property included several outbuildings crumbling into the ground. I didn't take that as a very good sign. Then I saw the home's rear. Boarded up doors, broken windows, the gutter peeling away from the roof. Nervously, I stepped onto the iconic porch, turned the corner facing Uniontown Road, and peeked through the first door. An empty living room with various items scattered across the floor greeted me. The view through the next door was far worse. All the shutters that should have been gracing each window were stacked against the wall over one another. A peek through the window beside that door definitively answered the question regarding residency. No one lived there. That indistinct light seen from Uniontown Road at night was nothing more than an old lamp on a timer set to activate in the evening and shut off in the morning. A brilliant subterfuge. There was no way I was going to break and enter into that house and trespass. I had to do this the right way.
I've got something planned. More permits than you expected, Les.
So I set off for the Carroll County Land Records Department at the Courthouse Annex the following week and began digging to locate the current owner and get permission to enter the house. I'd done this kind of research before when I located the origins of the Gosnell house in Woodbine where I grew up. It wasn't too long before I discovered the information I sought. The home was deeded in 1987 to Lillian Sapiro and Phyllis Fink, partners in the Sapiro Family Limited Partnership. In 1988, they became Falstaff Limited Partnership. Unfortunately, Lillian passed away in 1997. Her daughter and son-in-law, Phyllis and Wilbur Fink, were now running Falstaff. That company now owned the old home on Uniontown Road with the wraparound porch. I called them and spoke with Wilbur Fink directly. He explained the house had been built in the 1860s. Lillian purchased the property from North Hill Associates in 1973. In 1975, Lillian and her daughter Phyllis began renting the partitioned house as 2 apartments and redeeded it to the Lillian & Co. partnership. The last tenant left in 1997 after the house rapidly fell into disrepair. For nearly 2 years, the only occupant was an old lamp on a timer to give the illusion someone lived there. Ideally, this would prevent vandals. Mr. Fink also stipulated that the house would be demolished without a buyer. After explaining my interest in the home and potentially buying it, along with some persuasion and signing documents indemnifying them if I got hurt, Mr. Fink granted permission to enter the house. At a minimum, I sought to record its existence before potential demolition. There would also be a caveat to purchasing the home, The 16-acre property would be developed into a new neighborhood that would become Stone Ridge Overlook, understanding that the old house would be the community's centerpiece and require a specific restoration. In other words, there were particular non-negotiable conditions. I don't recall them all specifically. One was discontinuing the Uniontown Road driveway in place of the future Caldera Court, which would be part of the new development. The address would also ultimately change. 415 Uniontown Road would be no more. That weekend, I grabbed my camcorder and asked my buddy Clint if he wanted to go with me to explore the house I'd been obsessing over the last few years. He readily agreed. In fact, Clint's father also wanted to tag along. He was an avid fan of old homes in the Carroll County area and was curious about the home's condition. As it turns out, the old house on Uniontown Road with the wraparound porch had quite the following. In 1999, the owner, Wilbur Fink, granted us permission to enter the home. Breaking and entering, as well as trespassing, is against the law. Neither are condoned nor encouraged. The Meering House is fully restored today, and the family lives there. Please, respect their privacy. This house is enormous. Here's a key showing what section of the house we're exploring.
Take a spin in the basement.
I've often wondered how far back that inscription was made. Regardless, it's sound advice considering the low clearance of that support beam.
Turn my night shot on and get some shot of this. And that is the heater. New water heater. Guess I'll do the dark room first, because this thing is... Now, I know those of you can see this on tape, but it is pitch dark in here, and I can't see a freaking thing. Big old fireplace. Yeah, I don't see coming down here to do the laundry either. I guess that's a table. I can't tell. Too dark. Alright, enough of the dark room. Going to the food storage facility. Keep in mind we're still in the basement. Oh, there's a room in here too. Big old snake. Just kidding. The pipe. Found a couple dead bodies in there.
By the way, that too was a joke. That old icebox was completely empty.
Night shot. As you can see, these people left us plenty of food. Oops. Some preserves here. Peaches, I believe. Used to be a toilet. Mr. Porter seems to think this used to be some sort of coal room. He'd put the coal in through this window. More preserves. Those are the stairwells that take us up the other side of the house. We'll get over there soon enough. Head down. I've been in here already. Here's the kitchen. The other way to the kitchen. The door we just come in. Used to be a wall there, according to Mr. Porter. There used to be a door to the other side of the house. Nice big old radiator. And apparently the pipes to go with. Outlets on the walls. Door to the front. Was unlocked. Isn't anymore. Newspapers, which I'll check the date on. '94. take a trip upstairs. I said I'd get a good shot of this. That's the grand staircase. Much better pictures in the daylight. Let's go to the end of the hall. Is that fireplace just covered up or boarded up?
Boarded.
If they didn't want to use it anymore.
A lot of them, they did that, they boarded them up.
What's the point of having a fireplace then?
Because at the time, the thing is nowadays, these fireplaces probably aren't gonna be,
Don't be such a camera wuss.
the flues are up to par and you catch your house on fire.
Oh, well, you don't want that. No entry. Part of the house division.
Like my dad said, you got a lot of bedrooms up here.
Yeah.
He said he'd make this into a bathroom.
This whole room?
Oh yeah. And the bathroom you have here at the top of the steps should knock out.
And put what in its place?
Nothing. Come here, I'll show you. You were saying at one time that maybe this wall wasn't here and you could put a bench here and sit out and look out that window out to Main Street.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like this was an open area.
Yeah, it does seem to have that
Just because of
appearance.
this area here, I mean, you got a gap between the railing and the wall. You just ran it right here and stopped it.
This room does look built on.
Yeah. Basically like a bench here where the stub sits and you can sit out there and look out the window. Here's the other thing you noticed. Somebody hit the floor with a sander and tore the out of it.
Yeah. Another.
This would be a nice master bedroom.
Yeah, this is definitely master material here.
The thing about this one is there's no fireplace. It'd be nice to have a fireplace in the master bedroom. Don't forget to get these.
Well, now, don't want to go unboarding up them fireplaces if it's going to burn a house down.
Well, you don't. That's what Pop did at his house. It was just a little long. Speaking of Pop, I think he's in the attic.
Oh, is he?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
He did say there's a lot of potential. You just don't want to know the price he gave either.
Oh, yeah? Well, tell me anyway.
200,000.
Sheesh.
He says if you were a handyman, he'd tell you to section off half the house. But he said I think this half is livable. You know, like board it up and then work section at a time.
Yeah, well, you know what? This half is not livable.
Actually, I think this was the one he did say.
This room is terrible
Well,
shape.
this year you just got a wall up, but this is a functional bathroom. You only need 2 bedrooms. One for you and one, you and the missus. And but you got so many rooms in here, you don't know what the f*** to do.
There's the 3 lights that stay on all the time, so people think there are people living here.
Speaking of lamps, I think I'm taking this with me.
Oh, yeah? Help yourself. I won't tell no one.
It's one of them touch lamps.
Oh, is it? I got one of them. They're cool as hell.
I think I'm gonna have to wire this.
Alright, now, I guess for fun, we'll have to...
You go up. That's where he's at.
Yeah, hit the attic last. Go down here.
Let me go in front of you and I'm stepping.
Well, let me turn the night shot on. Just get a picture of what this looks like.
My God, look at the opening, Kevin.
Yeah.
Go straight down.
Oh, yeah, we're good. Here's all the shutters. And the other door. Closet, it looks like it used to go downstairs. Oh, yeah. Nice camera we found with film in it. It's gonna run this over to the mall. There's that broken down room downstairs. The doors all boarded and nailed shut. Of course, that goes back upstairs. It's hard to believe that this used to be an apartment, because you know what? This is tiny. This side. There's another way into the basement. Another full me light. Pause.
You get a picture of these steps going down?
Yeah, just trying to breathe. It's getting difficult.
It's getting chill.
Yeah, it is. Well, we've also been out here forever. More steps to the basement. Well, now we've seen the other side of the house. The other half looks better, I think. And now, this is up to the second floor. Note some of the wiring here along the wall.
Smoke detector works.
Yeah, but
Still powered.
it's lit, but it don't buzz.
Speaker might be broke, but
Now into the attic. Me being careful not to bump my head or lose my balance. This is where we see some cool
get a picture of that.
Everybody gets out of the way of the camera. I gotta turn the night shot on here. Alright.
And this.
But you'll need the light, it's got its own.
Oh, okay.
Now here's the cool part. Alright, get this bar. What'd you call it? The torsion bar?
I think that's what it is called, yes.
And a bolt that seems to go right down the center of the house. And then over here, like a little secret cubby hole in the attic that says to put my office in here.
That's what holds the bar on this side of the house.
Yeah. Floor's in good shape as always. I couldn't put my office in here, it's too confined.
Are you claustrophobic?
Yes, mildly, but
See, nice big old two skylights here and your desk right here. Lock that door. Never come up in the attic and bother me and touch your stuff.
yeah. Nobody will come in the attic and bother me and touch my stuff.
That's it, see?
People forget I'm alive. I could die up here and nobody would know.
Probably. Intercom system. Come get me.
I'm not coming up in that attic. You can die. This door.
But I still think this is neat, the other door here.
Yeah, it is. What do you think? They're hiding slaves up here?
Probably not because it would have been seeable. You know, the door's seeable and it's shut. That's what I said.
Figure out how to get out of here.
You could probably put knee walls about here, and, from about here over here. But the first thing I did put is a door, use a minimum 2x8. This one's shot, there's one over there that's actually cracked on the other side of the wall. I wouldn't get on that roof.
Oh, no glass across there either.
Not if it's sheeting, which is fine.
Well, here's the
Sheeting-
glass over here.
Yeah, well, the sheeting's fine, it's been replaced. And the hole I saw in the roof is down there, so it's in real good shape. Just need new shields. Flashing around, these are a few holes around that. This one's pretty good shape.
I like how it narrows and flares again.
Yeah, some engineer was thinking to himself, oh, too far over to the right. Better ease it on over.
And they flared it out this way too.
Drafty. Hello. Do your job, Mr. Light.
It's a waste of space.
What's that? All that.
Straight up.
Yeah, I know.
You what you would do is close it off and put a closet above there, put a closet door through right there, and then put your
Bible doors.
this type of doors.
Oh, okay.
You understand it?
No, but that's all right.
It's a cross. See the cross?
Yeah.
And then here's the Bible. The Bible's open with a cross above it.
I think they did that on purpose.
Actually, they built the doors that way, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I learned something. Another damn fireplace all boarded up. Hey, for those of you at home, if you're lost, that's okay. It's a big house. Just have to come by here every now and then and replace light bulbs as they burn out.
I think he hates me and film worse than me.
Oh, I'm trying to avoid y'all. I think I've explored just about every room in here.
Why is the fireplace offset?
Oh, look, a wall switch. Does good right up to get up in here. Of course, I'm told that this is not part of the original house. This is a porch.
Unless the fireplace.
Down in the basement.
Is the fire, like the
There's
one
a
in
fireplace
the
in the basement somewhere. Which side I don't
It
remember.
goes all the way over.
basement. This one had the fireplace in the basement. So maybe, and this would have been, see the opening, this may have been a fireplace here, I don't know.
I lost count a long time ago.
I showed this video that night to my then new bride. She unequivocally stated that we were not buying that house. It didn't matter that we could afford it, and we would certainly never live there in its current condition. Clearly, she was not as adventurous as I was. But everything happens for a reason. 2 months later, on March 8th, 1999, we moved to Sarasota, Florida for a business opportunity that panned out well. I left behind what I believed was a diamond in the rough, that, with a bit of love, could be the majestic beauty I knew she could be. A few years later, Clint sent me a photo of the old house on Uniontown Road with the wraparound porch, now fully restored and looking as beautiful as I'd always imagined. 20 years would pass before discovering the complete story behind the Meering House's resurrection. And it was only because I was working on a different story that our paths would cross again.